Welcome to the Premier League predictions here on the Commentary Hub and our partnered channels as well, Commentary Hub 2, JB Sports, Straight Out Football, and also Storm FM across Twitter and Twitch as well this evening. I'm Russ, representing the Commentary Hub again this week. I've got my guest lined up in the background, ready to bring on in a moment. But before I do that, let's take a look how I got on last week against Sam Wright. And it was a defeat for me and for the Commentary Hub last week, with Sam Wright coming away with 6 points thanks to Everton's 2-0 win over Norwich and Wolves' 1-0 win over Southampton. My only point came in that Everton game with a 3-0 win for Everton, but he was actually 2-0 to Everton, but I said it was going to be 3-0, but Everton gained the win they did, and we get just the solitary point from last week. Let's hope we can do one better this week as I take on Rich Storey, a Newcastle United fan and podcaster. How you doing, Rich? You okay?
I'm okay, Russ. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Good to have you on then, mate. I mentioned to you off air how this pointing system works and how we're going to do this evening. We're going to go through the games in order of the games that are being played. So we'll start off with the game at Old Trafford, where Manchester United are taking on Everton this weekend. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer been under fire recently, with Man United not performing to the best of standards. Everton going fairly well under Rafa Benitez this season. How do you see this one going, Rich? Do you reckon Man United will lose against Everton at Old Trafford, or do you think Ronaldo can inspire him to another win like he did in midweek?
It's going to be it's a tough one, because coming from the Everton point of view, obviously managed by Rafa Benitez, we've got a big Newcastle fan. Obviously, I've got experience of Rafa Benitez parking the bus when he goes to the bigger grounds. So, it could be a smash and grab by Everton, because we know how hostile the Old Trafford can be when things aren't going their way. However, I think that Man United as a team will be wanting to put on a performance, because the performances over recent weeks haven't been great. Going for when Newcastle went there the other week. Yes, they beat us 4-1, but it was never a 4-1 game. A couple of mistakes gave Man United 2 goals. So they're not on fire on all cylinders. However, I do think they'll actually get the result on Saturday lunchtime, and I'm actually going to say a 2-0 victory to Man United.
Well, for me, Rich, I think Everton are going to surprise all odds here and get the win. I think Everton are going to nick it again. No one expected Villa to beat Man United at Old Trafford last week, and they did with a late goal there. I think it's going to be a tie one, but I think Everton will nick it. I'm going to say 2-1 Everton. I think Everton will just have that bit more quality in front to goal to win it against Manchester United, especially if we can keep Cristiano Ronaldo quiet in that game, and also Bruno Fernandes as well, another top player for Manchester United this season. Next one is a battle at the bottom of the table, Burnley against Norwich at Turf Moor. And just to let you know here, Rich, if you go against Newcastle, will be one of our fellow colleagues of the Commentary Hub who will not be happy, because he's a Burnley fan, John Stuttard, aka JB. So I see, is Burnley side getting on against Norwich this week, mate?
It's one of those battles at the bottom, as you said. It's the proverbial 6-pointer. Is it too early for that or not? But from what we've seen so far this season, we had Burnley in the Carabao Cup where Leicester knocked us out with a penalty shot, but Newcastle had a lot more better chances in a boring 0-0 draw. I was tempted to go for another 0-0 draw on this one, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in it. However, I think the quality that Burnley have got through, in particular, Chris Wood, I think there'll be enough to get a 1-0 win over Norwich.
I think it's going to be. I think Burnley will also get the win here as well, and I think it'll be a 2-0 win. I think especially if Vidra starts, and if Cornet is back from an injury which he picked up last week, if he's fit, I've not seen their team news. So if he's fit, I think they'll help Burnley get the win, and I'm going for a 2-0 win in this one, Rich. So JB will be happy with both of us this week. Next up, then, Rich, is the game at Stamford Bridge where Chelsea take on Southampton. And Southampton not really off to the best of starts this season. Chelsea did and missed, lost to Manchester City last week. I'd see this game going at Stamford Bridge.
Well, Southampton are going to be riding high after last week's point at the Etihad. However, Chelsea are on the back of the defeat to Man City and also the defeat during the week to Juventus. So there's a lot of people being turned around saying they're not being able to score goals in the last few games. However, we know Chelsea can defend for their life and they're very, very hard to break down under Thomas Tuchel. But I believe there's far, far too much quality in the Chelsea side for Southampton. So I'll be going for a home will, and I'm actually going to say 3-0.
You know what, Rich? I've gone for the same one. I think it's going to be a 3-0 win to Chelsea. Tomorrow, I think Chelsea will have enough. I think, like I said, they'll have enough, especially under Thomas Tuchel since he's come in. He's turned Chelsea around from completely how they were playing under Frank Lampard previously, and he's turned him around quite a hell of a lot. So I think Chelsea will get the win in this one. Next up is my team, as people can see behind me, Leeds United. Still looking for their first win of the season, taking on Watford, who are doing fairly well. I think Leeds will probably just have enough, and then the home crowd at Ellen Road will just get behind them and just spur them over the line to get the first win in this game. I'm going for a 3-1 Leeds United win in this one, Rich. I do see the game going at Ellen Road on Saturday.
Obviously, the last two teams that we've played are obviously playing Ellen Road tomorrow. The Leeds, obviously, when we played Leeds, fantastic game. Obviously, we were discussing it before we went on air. And obviously, we played Watford last week. So, what I saw from Leeds, I believe Leeds have got more foot than Watford. Watford, I wasn't impressed with what I saw of them last week. We basically gifted them a goal. Should have won it numerous times, but there's a chance we couldn't take. You know, Jacob Murphy went viral with his fantastic knee-high shot in the 95th minute. But regards to the fixture we're talking about, Leeds and Watford, I believe Leeds will win. I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Leeds.
Yes, and also, I saw it start yesterday, which regarding Leeds and Watford. Last two times Leeds played Watford in the top flight was 99-2000, but in the Premier League, when they both came back up in the Premier League, and Leeds won both fixtures in that one. So I'm hoping it's a good omen ahead of the game tomorrow. Next up, then, Rich, it's Wolverhampton Wanderers against your team, Newcastle United, and Newcastle, it's a miss really this season, I'd have to say. And Wolves likewise at the moment, but Wolves picking up in the last couple of weeks or so. I know they lost in the Carabao Cup to Tottenham in the shootout, but did well in previous game against them in the league and doing really well so far. Wolves just not right finding the rubber the green at the moment. I just see this one going rich tomorrow between Wolverhampton Wanderers and your team, Newcastle United.
Well, any Newcastle fan, I'll tell you that whenever we play Wolves, it usually ends at 1-1. So I'm tempted to go 1-1 again, because I think the last 4 times we've played them, it's ended up in a 1-1 draw. However, Newcastle have had a lot of bad luck this season so far and haven't had the run in the green out. Yes, Callum Wilson, we have missed him. But as we were talking about briefly before the start, Alan Saint-Maximin is just different class. His pace will cause a lot of problems tomorrow to the Wolves back line. A lot of people compare it to Adam Traore, which will probably be we'll see in the game tomorrow. But I think Alan Saint-Maximin is a lot more consistent than what Traore is and has a better final product. So I'm actually going to go for a narrow 2-1 Newcastle win tomorrow.
I think it'd be a good game this one tomorrow as well, which I don't think Newcastle will come away with any points in this one, I'm afraid, my friend. I'm thinking Wolves will get the win. I'm going to say 2-0 to Wolves. I think Wolves will just have the quality over Newcastle. From what I've seen, Newcastle when you played them, if you can manage to keep Saint-Maximin quiet, I'm not sure if Wilson's back for tomorrow, but if they can keep Saint-Maximin quiet for large periods of the game, I think they'll keep Newcastle quiet, and I think Wolves will just get Newcastle's heads will drop, and then Wolves will get another late goal, to win 2-0 tomorrow. The 5:30 game tomorrow is Brighton against Arsenal at the Amex. Arsenal picking up recently, especially with that win last week over Tottenham in the North London derby. Brighton missed out on going top of the Premier League with a 1-0 draw against Crystal Palace last time out. Neil Maupay getting a late goal for Brighton in that game. How do you see this one going against the Seagulls and the Gunners at the Amex tomorrow, Rich?
I think it's going to be a good game, actually. Brighton have been on fire so far at the start of the season. Arsenal got off to an awful start, but have managed to turn it around the last few fixtures. I actually think there'll be goals in it because Arsenal have got some good forwards, but they don't look defensively solid. I'm actually going to turn around and say a 2-2 draw.
And that's what I'm going for, which I'm going for Desmond as well. 2-2. I think there'll be, like I said, I think there'll be goals in Arsenal. Yes, we've got a good centre-back partnership in White and Gabriel, but the full-backs are where probably the issues may be and where Brighton may get the most joy against Arsenal tomorrow. And when they put going forward, but Ben White wanted to put one over on his former club. I think Brighton will get a draw. I'm also going for a 2-2 draw. Next up is Crystal Palace against Leicester in one of the 3 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sunday. Leicester not very good so far. Lost in the Europa League last night to Legia Warsaw. Crystal Palace with a 1-0 draw with Brighton last time out in the Premier League. I think Palace will get the win in this one. I'm going 2-0 Crystal Palace here. Rich, what about you, my friend?
I think Leicester will want to make amends for the last few performances. They haven't been great. They were lucky to scrape a point against Burnley at home last week. Favourites to beat Legia Warsaw last night, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done and lost 1-0. I think that they may still get something from the game. I don't think they'll get the win. I believe it'll be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw there for Rich. Next up then is Tottenham against Aston Villa, and Tottenham bit inconsistent as well in the start of the season. Won 3 on the bounce and then dropped off a little bit in recent weeks and then dropped off. Just won in the Europa Conference League last night, which probably gave him a bit of confidence, but Aston Villa are doing fairly well this season. Do you see a Villa win here in this one, Rich, or do you think there'll be a draw, or do you reckon Tottenham will have enough to get past Aston Villa on this occasion at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday afternoon?
I think it depends on what Tottenham turn up, basically. They've been hideous in the league over recent games after the 100% start after the first 3 games. Aston Villa will be buoyed by that victory at Old Trafford last week. A lot of people didn't see that coming, as your predictions showed from last week. I don't know. I think it seems to be a week of draws by the looks of it, and I'm actually going to go for a draw again. And I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
I've gone for a 2-1 Villa win. I think Villa will just edge it and pressure will mount on Nuno Espirito Santo even more at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Next up is a London derby, and the London Stadium is West Ham United taking on the Brentford side who held Liverpool to a 3-3 draw last time out. And West Ham beat Leeds 2-1 with a late goal from Mikel Antonio. This is going to be another very good game. West Ham with a win 2-0 last night in the Europa League to the London Stadium. Do you reckon West Ham can get another win here in the league and continue their unbeaten start?
It's the only thing I would, straight away I would not. If looked on paper, I would go West Ham. The only doubt is we know what Europa League games are like. The teams don't tend to travel or play well the following Sunday after a Europa League game. So, but I still believe that, David Moyes won't allow them to relax on it because they've had a good start, as we said. They want to build on how they finished last season and kick on again off the good start they've had so far. I think it'll be a 2-1 win to West Ham.
I think it'll be a 2-0 West Ham win. I think West Ham will just get the job done in the end. A bit like last night from what I saw of the game last night. Get an early goal, then he's see the majority of the game and then get a late goal in stoppage time at the end of the game. Next to which, I would say this is probably going to be the game of the weekend. Liverpool against Manchester City on Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon at 4:30. Game of the weekend. Rich, how do you see this one going at Anfield?
You can never tell with these two teams, can you? They always serve up a good game though. Man City will be looking to bounce back from the defeat midweek to PSG, which was a bit of a harsh result on them because they did well during the game, whereas Liverpool had a fantastic victory over at Porto. So I think it's going to be goals again, and I'm tempted to. I could go either way, but I just believe the way that City were able to go to Chelsea last week and get the job done, that it'll be the same on Sunday, and I think Man City will edge it out 2-1.
I think Man City will edge it out as well, especially after the performance last week against Chelsea, like you said, which I'm going for. I'm instead of a 3-goal thriller, instead of 3 goals in this game, I'm going for a 5-goal game, and I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Manchester City against Liverpool tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, on Sunday, which will be a very good game for people to enjoy. We'll see how that goes. And just before we do wrap up, Richard, I do let you go. Just give us your thoughts from a Newcastle perspective on the season so far, and where do you think he's gone wrong at the moment for Newcastle? And do you reckon the biggest part of the Newcastle problem is down to the manager Steve Bruce?
I think the main problems with the Newcastle full stop are from the boardroom down to the playing. So the manager, it's completely toxic. We've got a manager that nobody wants. We've got players that seem to be playing for not necessarily Steve Bruce, but I would we think more they're playing for Graham Jones. Who came in last season, fortunes seemed to turn around a bit. And you might be aware of this from obviously the Leeds game a couple of weeks ago, when Leeds were tearing us apart first 15, 20 minutes because we were just all over the place tactics-wise. And Graham Jones came down from the state of the ground, down at the side of the pitch, and started to pass orders out. And Steve Bruce was standing next to Graham Jones. And Matt Ritchie was actually right next to him and never once looked at Steve Bruce when he was trying to put in. He was transfixed on Graham Jones. So there's obviously a battle in the dugout sort of thing, which obviously players will pick up on. But at the same time, Steve Bruce, he isn't a Premier League quality manager. Never has been. He's got one of the worst win ratios in Premier League history, under 28%, I think it is, which is shocking, really, for a manager who played under one of the best managers of all time, under Sir Alex Ferguson. He was probably one of the best centre halves that was never got to play for England, but can't get a team to defend. It's just something that always bamboozles us. And sometimes it's just, with Callum Wilson's been out the last few weeks. The only other recognised centre forward that we've got with the club is Dwight Gale. He's ranted and raved about Dwight Gale being part of, he's tried to buy him numerous times before to the clubs he's been at. So now he's got the perfect chance to play him, and he won't play him. He's playing, Joe Linton, who's scored 7 goals in a season and a half, which is actually not be longer than that. Actually, be two and a bit seasons, which is ridiculous. He was brought in as a number 9, never a number 9. So he's worked that wide, and they're now playing a winger through the middle, which is causing problems. And as I said to you before we went on air, if Newcastle don't have Callum Wilson and don't have Alan Saint-Maximin, Newcastle probably wouldn't win another game this season. Our results revolve around those 2 players, because Alan Saint-Maximin was so dangerous. He drags, sometimes he has 2 people to mark him, which creates space for other people to run into and get a shot away and stuff like that. So we've had as I mentioned earlier, we've had a bit of bad luck as well. We've had a couple of VAR decisions go against us, a couple that we should have, been given, which we didn't get. So, yeah, we're tottering. I think we're 17th at the minute, just above the relegation zone. We looked at the start of the season that we had, and we were expecting a bit more points than what we've already got, because our December is awful. We've got, it's Leicester, both Manchester clubs. We've got Liverpool in there as well, and Everton as well. So it's a horrendous December. So we need to start picking up points. Hopefully, Callum Wilson will be back after the international break, and we can kick on from there. Keep him fit, and I don't think there's an issue if him and Saint-Maximin are injured, which we saw for a great spell last season. If in the new year, then we'll be in dire straits, unfortunately, Russ.
Yes, and obviously, Rich, as well as a Newcastle fan, you're a Newcastle podcaster as well, and
Yeah.
just tell the commentary people a bit about the podcast that you're doing. Where
Yeah.
can they find yourself on whether it be on Twitter, and where can they find your podcasting stuff as well, my friend?
Yeah, if you want to put the name on the screen, Russ, it's my hashtags are on there. There, my Rich Storey is my personal one, and our Twitter is at LoadedHQ1. You can search exactly the same on that. It'll take you through to our YouTube channel. We normally go out on Friday night where we do our Loaded Mag show, which we'll be doing tonight at 8:30, where we've got two guests coming on. We've got a fan who's actually a lawyer. And we've also got Alistair McGowan from BBC Sport coming on the show tonight to chew over the fat of the cat case on Wednesday, which is it's got a lot of attention for national media for a change, rather than just the local media, which have picked up on it for the last 18 months or so. A lot of the national media have picked up on a lot of the things that came out of the hearing as well. So it's starting to pick up a lot of interest nationally, and the fact that we've got someone from BBC Sport come on tonight. We had Sean Custis from the Sun and Talk Sport and Sky Sports on a few weeks ago as well, with him being a Newcastle fan as well. So if you like Newcastle United, and you want to, we're just five dads who do a channel who love football, but we have various different content, from guests coming on and talking over what games we've got at the weekend, where we're doing a away day show every Wednesday or Thursday, the day before fixture, and we get someone from the rival team podcast. So we discuss both teams, how the team's set up and stuff like that. And we also get you one-off specials as well, which we've got one next week called Coach's Corner, where everyone thinks they're a tactician, could be a manager. So we're going to try and put that to the point where the five of us try and become a coach for the day.
Yes, sounds interesting then, Rich. Hopefully, if anyone wants to go and subscribe to Rich, the details are on the screen where his name, where he's on the screen there. So just go and give him a follow there, and be able to keep across Rich there, and go for him on those two Twitters and get all the details from there. And I'm sure if you missed all the details and where they are, I'm sure if you drop Rich a DM, and then he'll be able to send you over the details to guide you there. But Rich, once again, thanks for coming on, my friend. And just before we do let everybody go, I'll just put up on the screen right now. There's mine and Rich's scores for this weekend's matches. And then on our next prediction show in a couple of weeks' time, after the international break, I will get them up on the screen with the results and how me and Rich have done. So make sure, if you want to see how me and Rich have done, come back in a couple of weeks' time when I'll have another special guest going through the Premier League predictions for another week. But Rich, once again, thank you for coming on, my friend. I hope you've enjoyed it.
No problem. Thanks for having us, Russ. Have a good night, mate. Have a good night with viewers.
Cheers, guys. Speak to you soon.